This is coffee number 5. I'm your host, Lara Schmoisman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to coffee number 5. Sometimes it's all about making decisions, and being a business owner, being a leader is about making decisions, but also taking risks. As a business, like I always say, you are a risk management. You're always evaluating your risk management in your business. Is if I spend money in this, do I have money to spend in this? If I take this client, do I have the team or I need to hire more? If I hire these people, will I be able to work well with the team? There are so many factors or ingredients in this mixing, in this cooking that we do every day. And a big factor also is of making decisions is, to me at least, not making rash decisions. For me, it's always, as I say, you need to create a sustainable growth, but at the same time, create a cohesive growth. And sometimes that doesn't happen. And when you start in a business, it just grows, thanks God. But sometimes it gets messy and you need to restructure. You need to learn from what works and what doesn't work. And that happened to me. This week, I had to make a tough call. It was tough. I've been working on this for, I would say, 6 months. And the last 3 months, I knew that it was inevitable. It had to be done. I had to process it, and I had to deal with it emotionally too, because it's your baby. Your business is your baby. But the numbers don't lie. The facts don't lie. So when you have to make tough decisions, you need to have a plan, and a plan that you'll be able to execute and sustain. Today, I invited someone that I met through a colleague, and it's Jennifer Davis. She just wrote a book about very similar situations. And welcome, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here at coffee number 5. And that I want yourself to tell us about who you are, why you wrote this book, and give us a little more about what is the book about.
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. My name is Jennifer Davis. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for a company called Learfield. We are a technology and data and media leader in the collegiate sports space and live entertainment. And we have relationships with schools all over the country and bring fans and brands together in really innovative ways. It's a fun space to be in. But one of the things that I had been wanting to do for quite a while and really took the opportunity over the pandemic was writing a book. And so I just published a book called Well-Made Decisions this past August. And the book is about the impact and the techniques that people can use to not only make right decisions, but make those decisions right. I find that in a business context, decisions, much like inspiration or genius, is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. And so it's really about finding that balance, the balance that you talked about in your introduction between thoughtfully weighing choices, getting input, doing analysis and research, and needing to make high velocity decisions to take advantage of growth opportunities in your business. And how do you balance those? And so that's what the book is about.
Can we break it up a little, Jennifer? Thank you so much again for being here, because I love that everyone says I'm creative and we need something new to create this company. But yeah, every company needs to offer a unique value, but
Sure.
At the same time, it still runs as a business. And I think that there is a marketing that you do as a business, but also you need to deal with your company and the functioning of your company as your own business, as a marketing plan itself.
Sure. I think one of the questions that I get asked a lot is how to marketing within the organization. And I think you're totally right, especially when you rise to a level of a leader where you're not just a functional leader, you might be over multiple functions in your organization, operating either as an owner, operator, or as a member of an executive team. Your responsibilities are broader than any one function, and so you do need to think about the whole organism and how it operates. I think that's a point of view that helps you to determine the kind of decisions that you're making and how to differentiate your business.
I like when you explain all this. Your last point was how to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that it was a last point, because before growing, you need to experience a lot of other things. You need to be established as a company. So
I think it's interesting because growth is the result.
Mm-hmm.
Growth is the result of having many things, a deep empathy for a customer group, understanding a need, bringing forward a solution to that need, hopefully that's differentiated in the marketplace and of good value. It's being able to implement and fulfill that need, make promises and keep them, and do it in such a way that you can retain and attract the talent required to grow that business. So yeah, there's a lot of work streams working in concert in order to deliver growth. And again, that doesn't mean that growth doesn't come right away. If you're a startup, you're kind of counting on some things breaking your way early to be early indications of success. But long-term growth is the result of doing a lot of things right every day.
I'm gonna turn this around a little, because I want to talk about from the point of view of a small company, or when they're looking into marketing, or they're looking into getting help from marketing. And I feel like, first of all, there's a huge confusion. I know that there are some gray areas, and mostly now with the e-commerce platform, but marketing is not sales. Marketing supports sales. They should be a sales strategy anyway.
You're right. And again, I think it goes back to the business strategy. Why do you win? Well, I once had a great CEO who would often ask the question, why do we deserve to win? And I actually like that language, because it forces you to say, actually, our solution has to be better. Our understanding of the need is deeper. Our value proposition is stronger in some respects. So then you have a audience that you're aiming at, a problem that audience has, and the solution to that. And armed with that, then you can go to market in a number of different ways. Often that relationship between sales and marketing, or even the ratio of sales and marketing in the sales pipeline, often depends on the kind of business it is.
Absolutely.
If you're a marketer trying to drive subscribers to an online streaming platform, you may not even have sales. It may be all a marketing driven funnel. On the flip side, if you work in a B2B company, you may have a very sales driven process. And in that regard, marketing is providing sales support, sales enablement, maybe providing some communication, kind of air cover style communications. So I've seen it drawn many different ways. But ultimately, the organization that you draw and how sales and marketing, work together or to support that really goes back to that business strategy and the problem that you're solving for a customer.
Absolutely. And also you need to remember that you need to find your customer where the customer is. The customer is not going to come to you. Mostly if you're a new business, you need to go after them. So if you need to find out first who they are, and many times, this is always trial and error.
Right. And it's very interesting that if you take an approach that says the purpose of our organization long-term is to satisfy customer needs in a unique way, all the things I just talked about. But in the short term, our objective is to learn how to do that as fast as possible.
Exactly. And you need to be open-minded. You cannot say, hey, all my clients are millennials. And then you find out that they're not with a new product. So you need to be open to, hey, maybe my client is not here. And I found that I'm totally an omni-channel passionate. And I think that you need to be wherever your customer is. Of course, there are certain things like TV ads are very expensive and they are not possible for everyone, but you need to analyze first where your audience is, who is your audience, and maybe in TV is a different audience than the one that is online. But you cannot say my audience is in Instagram. Maybe your audience is not there, and you know to find it somewhere else.
Actually, is a good case in point. We've done extensive research here at Learfield about what constitutes a college sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some products that you can just imagine in your mind are associated with sports marketing, beverages, sports equipment brands, various things that might be automobiles, financial services are often associated with financial, sports marketing. But what we have found is that with a deep understanding of who the fan base is, there are a lot of brands coming to college sports marketing because we can bring them a female, household decision maker audience, or we can bring them an audience in a particular DMA or with a particular demographic in a particular city that they want to target. And so in that case, they're coming to it not because they had originally thought college sports marketing is for me, but rather it was a means to reach a particular audience. And I think, all of those is true in our business. And I think it's true of a lot of the marketing, the things that you would put into a marketing mix. They are secondary to your understanding of who your customer is.
Yes.
And
I found these many small business owners or startups that they think, there's always people whispering in your ear when you still have that. There's always people that they know better, and somehow they seem very consistent on whatever, and they have a very strong beliefs, and people choose to believe in them and say, okay, and great. There's great salespeople, by the way. But maybe they are not great providers, and convince someone and I'm talking all about cases that I heard and I seen. I spent thousands of dollars in Google ads, but I didn't get any return of investment. And I was, okay, can you tell me, was the ad for brand awareness? Was for selling? How did you measure? And they couldn't answer me any of those questions because they just put an ad without an intention.
Right. And again, if you focus on, I'm going to run these ads because I want results, and I've identified ahead of time what success looks like, and I'm measuring against that. And the whole point of doing an experiment or test or a variation is to learn.
Absolutely. And to get data, see who is consuming those ads.
Right.
And it always is a learning curve. Like every time I put ads for a new company that they don't have that persona identify and they know where they are already, I say, let's go broad. And then we're going to get information who's attracted to us. And then we start narrowing until we find who is our persona. But it's a great way to get information.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think, digital advertising, especially for long tail terms, could be an interesting way to really root out who cares about the need that you've identified and the solution that you have.
Okay, so let's go back, because you're talking about 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Yeah. So the 1% is clear. Let's talk about the other 99%. What does it means?
Yeah. So it's basically this idea that a decision that you make, I'm going to go into a new market, I'm going to buy a new company, I'm going to expand. into a new product line, any risk that you might take with your business that might represent an investment. I'm going to do a new marketing strategy. That decision is the finish line of the decision-making process, but more importantly, it's the starting line for the implementation. And that starting line is going to involve a lot more resources, a lot more people's time, a lot more financial investment, a lot more time than the decision did. And often we look back and we'll say things like, that was a really good decision, opening up into that new market or investing in that new product. And we kind of over credit the decision with the success, and we kind of undercredit the work that went into making that decision right. All the people who got involved, all the subsequent decisions, even the little pivots along the way that led to the eventual results.
But also we need to learn about what we did bad.
Right.
That's, to me, it's great. And this is something that I try to exercise with my team all the time. Like when mistakes happen, I bring it as a learning opportunity. Not everyone sees it like that, but for me, it's a team learning opportunities, because you learn from other people's mistakes. You learn more from mistakes that you learn from many times getting it right, because the luck factor is always there too.
Right. Yes. Hopefully luck is on your side. But absolutely, I think along the way, you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. But if you're really thoughtful of taking you paid the tuition, you might as well get the learning. That's what I always talk about.
Absolutely. But I also want to talk about this luck factor, because of course you have to have luck of being the right time at the right place. Timing is huge in anything you do. The wrong movie going out of the wrong weekend is going to fail.
Sure.
So we need to make sure that we always consider that something that we did well, maybe was an insulated thing. And it was what we call in marketing an unicorn. That we need to see if we can repeat it, not always repeat. So we don't know if we can count that as a truth until we repeat it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, I don't know, doing any scientific or technical development. You want to have repeated success, or you need to, in order to solve a problem, you need to often be able to replicate the problem.
Yes.
It's the same principle. I would also say that teams that have high talent density tend to be a little luckier. Teams that really listen to their customer and obsess about the customer tend to be more lucky. Teams that are more diverse, so that they're listening to different inputs and can see around strategic corners with all the perspectives that come from a more diverse team, tend to be more lucky. So there's some things that you can do to put luck on your side.
Okay, I
always break your way, but
I want to hear more about that. What are the luck factors that we can implement in our business to make sure it's successful?
Sure. Well, I guess I'll talk about the first one I mentioned, talent density. Reed Hastings and the team at Netflix have written extensively on what happened one time when they were going through an early stage crisis in their business and had to cut staff. And they very well expected, when they had to reduce staff, that they would be, as a team, less productive because they had less capacity, like less people in the building. But they found the opposite was true. And it was shocking that it was true. There was a renewed energy to the space, and people were actually being more productive and more collaborative. And the lesson that they took away from that is that when you only have high performers, those high performers are not distracted by having to remediate for others or to do the work of others. You also were more efficient meetings, internal communication, collaboration, forums, and the like became more enlivened and productive because you had people that were engaged and ready to contribute at the highest level. And he talks about in his book, the No Rules Rules. He talks about the idea of you want to have talent in a room that can light a light bulb, and when you have that, you have people who are then looking ahead and advocating for the customer and being able to execute quickly, and that turns into something that you look back and think, that got us the results that we needed.
I totally agree with you. I mean, as I told you at the beginning of this conversation, I'm in the process of restructuring my company, and I found out that having high performers at the beginning was kind of a threat. What's going on here? It gets scary for the team. But after a while, to having less mistakes, I found that the people feel more confident in the team, that they can rely one in another. And that's, to me, so important in teamwork, that that you can rely on your team.
100%, especially if you're doing knowledge work. If we were on an assembly line and passing widgets down the line, there's other mechanisms for that, but we're passing ideas around, and we need to collaborate at a higher level. So that trust factor is very important. The other thing that I would say is, it keeps coming back, this theme of understanding your customers better and advocating for them. If you want to put yourself in the path of luck, deeply understand your customer and the problems that they're facing. And you will train your gut to advocate for them on day in and day out. And that data or the anecdotes about what your customer or client needs will make all the difference in you being able to shift to the things that will solve their problem better, or advocate against wasteful spending in another area. As you started the call, there's a lot of leadership that, frankly, that's just resource allocation and risk management. And that happens at every level of your company. It's not just the CEO or the president who does resource allocation. Every single individual contributor, the most junior employee in your company, is allocating their own time and energy toward things. And again, the better they understand what's going to solve the customer need, the better we'll all be at allocating those resources.
And I think, of course, I'm a big believer in mentoring and to give my team whatever my experience is, but also I believe that each one in the team needs to be able to contribute, to bring an added value. So to me, someone who interviews for a job with my company and tells me, I want to come to your company to learn, to me is a bad start. What are you bringing to the company? And I found that in a lot of interviews, and people even put it in their resumes. You need to be a contributor. What do you have to give?
I think that is true. I think everybody should know, be able to articulate and be self-aware enough to know what they bring, what their superpowers are, and what they can be relied upon and trusted to deliver. And then everybody should have ideas about areas in which they want to grow and learn, especially things that might round out their experience or deepen their understanding of something. I think that's good, but there has to be balance in that, to your point.
Absolutely. Before we go, I'm going to ask you the same question that I always ask my guests, which is, tell us a mistake you made that we can learn from your mistake.
Well, one of the mistakes that I highlight in the book, and actually is one that closely ties to the conversation that we've been having about customer obsession, is at the time I worked for a company that made and marketed high-end video product for residential use. So we provided the technology that powered home theaters and home cinemas, a wonderful business to be in, a fun space to play. But we had heard from some of our channel partners that they wanted a product that would enable 3D video playback, so 3D movies. And we myself and others in the product leadership area had a great relationship and partnership, and we set about making the best product in that category. And I'm extremely proud of the solution that we came up with, but here's the problem. We didn't really understand the problem we were solving as deeply as we should. And we ended up developing a fantastic product that did not have the need in the marketplace that we believed was there. And so the sales results were disappointing. And all the time and energy that we had spent into engineering this product that delivered comfortable and incredible quality 3D video, amazing experiences, was just not what people wanted. And the work that we could have done on the front end, again, I take this on me, the work that we could have done on the front end to really vet the requirements, to really understand how people were making decisions about video in their home, as that was the space we played in, to really understand how they were going to evaluate technologies, what other things existed as alternatives. Those things ended up making all of the difference in the success of the product. So here we had a product that was literally winning awards for how high quality it was and was disappointing in the marketplace. And that comes down to really deeply understanding the needs of the customer and being able to align resources to solve that customer need to the best of our ability. And because you can distract yourself solving problems that don't need to be solved. And you can really distract yourself solving them well when it wasn't a good use of resources.
Thank you for sharing that. That was inspiring and so true. So true that when you have a new product, you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, you need to find out who's your customer. And when you find out who your customer is, are you resolving the needs or the problem? How are you fixing that problem? And that's, people are looking for solutions.
Mm-hmm. And they'll remember not the widget that you brought or the solution that you brought or the software or the service that you brought for it. They'll remember that they had a pain that you helped them with.
Absolutely.
And that gives you permission not only to go back to them and with your next solution and beyond, but it gives you permission to solve a whole host of other problems.
And also because you created trust. It's the same thing that we were talking about in your business environment, that you know what you're doing and your team knows that they can trust you. It's the same with the product. It's building a relationship, a long-lasting relationship.
And that is at the heart of what builds a brand, right? They're trusting you to deliver a solution, and you are known for the thing that you help them do. And that's the essence of brand building. That,
for me, is a successful campaign. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for being here. It was a pleasure talking to you. And we're going to give all the information of your amazing book and in the chapter notes and the episode notes, and read the book and share back your picture, read the book with Jennifer, and tag us too. So I'll see you guys next week in coffee number 5.
It was so good to have you here today. See you next time. Catch you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.